Shri Dakshinamurti Stotram, and we are on the 6th Shlok. Let me chant it for you first. Rahu Krasta Divakarendu Sadrisha Maya Samachadanat Sanmatra Karanopasaharanato Yo Bhutsu Shukta Puman Pragasvapsamiti Prabodha Samaye Ya Pratyabhigyayate Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Just like Rahu eclipses the sun and the moon, the power of Maya covers our real essence. Even with our sense organs withdrawn in deep sleep, when we wake up, we are aware that the one who is asleep and the one who is awake are one and the same person. Similarly, when the refined sadhak awakens from his deep sleep of ignorance, he realizes his true identity, his real essence. I bow down to Shri Dakshinamurti, who is the personification of the inner Guru and who awakens this knowledge in me through his profound silence. So, Bhagwan Shankaracharya starts this shlok with a reference to Rahu. So, Rahu grasta divakarendu dusadrisho. Like the sun and the moon are eclipsed by Rahu. So there's a story, most of you may be aware of it, but if you're not, then I will briefly explain the story of Rahu. So you all know that there was a time when there was a Samudra Manthan, a churning of the ocean, where the Asuras and the Devtas were combining their efforts to bring out the nectar from the bottom of the ocean. And this nectar called Amrit promised to give them immortality. So neither the Devtas nor the Asurs by themselves could bring this nectar out. So they needed to combine their efforts. But obviously the Devtas wanted the nectar more and the Asuras also wanted the nectar. So there was a silent competition between the two of them. Finally, when this nectar came out of the ocean, the Devtas played one little trick. Okay? What happened is, they didn't want the Asuras to get the nectar, because if the Asuras got the nectar first, they would become immortal and the Devtas would never be able to eradicate the Asuras. So Bhagwan Vishnu disguised himself as an Apsara called Mohini, and he distracted the Asuras. And while the Asuras were getting distracted, the Devtas started distributing the nectar amongst themselves. And they started, obviously becoming immortal. Now, there was one Asura called Swarbhanu. Swarbhanu found out this trick that the Devtas were playing. And he just disguised himself as a Devta, and he went and stood in the line along with the Devtas, and he took his place between Surya Bhagwan and Chandra Bhagwan, between sun god and moon god. He stood there in line to get the nectar. And it was just approaching, in line they were going. Surya Bhagwan and Chandra Bhagwan got alerted. They knew that this is something tricky happening over here. There was some Devta suddenly has appeared over here. So they informed Lord Vishnu. And they told Bhagwan Vishnu that this is not a Devta. This is some Asur only maybe who has come in disguise. And Bhagwan Vishnu immediately took out his Sudarshan Chakra and cut off Swarbhanu's head. Svarbhanu's head and body got cut off. But before, 1 second before the Sudarshan Chakra cut off his head, he already had a sip of the nectar. And because he had a sip of the nectar, he became immortal. Now what to do? So the head is separate, the body is separate, but they are both alive because he cannot die. He has sipped the nectar. So now the head of a snake was brought, and that head of the snake was attached to the lower part of the Svarbhanu's body, and the snake's tail was attached to the head of Svarbhanu. So they became two separate entities, one which had the head of the snake and the body of Svarbhanu, and one had the head of Svarbhanu and the body of a snake. Okay, so the head came to be known as Rahu, and the lower half of Svarbhanu came to be known as Ketu. So that is why we have a Rahu and a Ketu. And Rahu and Ketu, even though they were immortal, because they had already sipped the nectar, they had an immense hatred for Surya Bhagwan and Chandra Bhagwan, because they ratted on him. And because they ratted on him, now they are as two separate beings. So they say that whenever there is a solar eclipse or whenever there is a lunar eclipse, it is said that Rahu and Ketu are taking revenge on the sun and the moon. They say that Rahu and Ketu are swallowing the sun and swallowing the moon and basically enveloping the world in evil darkness. So that's the story of Rahu. Now, in Hindu astrology, what is Rahu and Ketu? These are two of the 9 grahas, okay? They are celestial bodies and they have a very direct impact on life on earth, okay? The Devatas are not concerned with anything happening on earth. They don't have any revenge on anyone. But the grahas have a very direct impact on whatever is happening on earth. So what impact does Rahu have? Because here we are talking about Rahu in this shloka. So Rahu, let's remember what is Rahu? Rahu is the head of the Asur and the body of the snake. So this Rahu, if Rahu is in one of your major houses in your Janma Patri, then it will create illusions in you. It will make you deluded. And it will show a picture of reality which is very far from the truth. So you will always be making mistakes. You will not see things correctly. You will always see things teda. Always see things as they are not. Crooked vision. And therefore, when Rahu is very much prominent in one of your grahas, then what happens is that you commit many mistakes in life. So, what has all this got to do with Dakshinamurti Stotram? That why does Bhagwan Shankaracharya start introducing all this astrology and all that? So obviously you know by now that these are all symbolic. So what does Rahu represent? Rahu represents ignorance. Sun and moon obviously represent light, knowledge, right? Truth. So sun and moon represent truth, knowledge, light. Rahu represents ignorance. Therefore, eclipse signifies what? Eclipse represents ignorance, which is covering knowledge. Ignorance, which is making us see things wrongly. Ignorance, which is making us make wrong superimpositions. Last time we talked about superimpositions, temporarily. Because the point Bhagwan Shankaracharya is trying to make is that even if Rahu covers the sun or covers the moon in an eclipse, it is not permanent. And when the Rahu moves, the sun and the moon will shine again. Secondly, even if Rahu covers the sun and the moon still exist. The sun and the moon don't die or they don't disappear. the sun and the moon will still exist, and more importantly, they will know that they still exist. So they are permanent. The eclipse is temporary. So similarly, now this is all there in just the first half of the first line of the shloka. So in the second part of the first line, Bhagwan says, Maya Samachhadanat. In the same way as Rahu temporarily covers the sun and the moon, Maya, the power of Maya, temporarily eclipses pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is temporarily eclipsed, covered, veiled by the power of Maya. The true nature of who we are is covered by this power of Maya. And because it is covered by the power of Maya, we are in ignorance of our true self. We are deluded. We do not know our real self. And because Bhagwan wants to make it clear that we understand this in a way that is common to all of us, that we experience on a daily basis, he takes the second line and gives us another example. What does he say? Sanmatra karanopasaharato yo bhut sushupta puman. When we are in deep sleep, all our senses are withdrawn. They are no longer getting any information. The mind is also sleeping. The intellect is also at rest. Everything is at rest. There is no activity, mental activity going on. So in other words, you can say the mind is in total eclipse, darkness. Okay. See how beautifully the same kind of understanding is being given to us in a way that we understand it on a daily basis. At night, you are sleeping, you are in darkness, your eyes are closed, no outside information is coming in, your mind is having an eclipse. Not lunar eclipse, not solar eclipse, you can say mental eclipse. But when we wake up in the morning, we don't forget who we are. We have not stopped existing just because the world had stopped existing for us in deep sleep, right? We still remember that the person who we are now in the morning and the person who was in deep sleep at night, they are one and the same person. I have not disappeared just because the world disappeared for me in deep sleep. So even though my sense organs were shut, even though the whole world did not exist for me, pure consciousness within me still existed. And it is this pure consciousness within me that is aware that the two persons, the one who was sleeping and the one who is awake now, they are both one and the same person. All of us can identify with this example, right? And this pure consciousness, Bhagwan calls it Sanmatraha. Sanmatraha, it is the only real essence of who we are. It is the only true self that continues to exist even though the power of Maya has temporarily veiled the true essence. Okay? When this veil will be removed, the true self will spontaneously reveal itself as our true self. Therefore, it is said that which existed, even when the sense organs were shut, that is the real essence of Sanmatra. What is this real essence? Bhagwan uses a few words. Abhu, unborn. That which never was born and therefore which will never die. It is eternal. It is Sat. It is existence itself. Abhu, a Janma, not born and never dies. And that is our Atma. That is who you and I truly are. And now, this is a real part. This is a real part of the shloka. This understanding that I am this Abhu, a Janma, Atma, who is my true self, my true identity. This is the aha moment that happens at the time of spiritual awakening. The word used here is Prabodha Samaye. Prabodha Samaye. Samaye, time. Bodh, understanding. Prabodh, meaning the supreme understanding, the time of supreme understanding. At that time, what will the refined sadhak, the prepared sadhak, the adhikari sadhak, what is he going to realize? He's going to realize, one, that the real essence of my being is not the sense organs which were shut, not the mind which was shut, not the intellect which was shut. The real essence, my true identity, is the Abhu, unborn, ajanma, never born and never dying. That essence within me is my true identity. And more than that, Atma and Paramatma are just one and the same, just like the rays of a sun are no different from the sun itself. And this knowledge, this experience, not knowledge, this experience will happen at the time of Prabodha Samaye, at the time of your spiritual awakening. Just like when you wake up in the morning, you realize the one who was asleep and the one who is awake is one and the same person. At the time of spiritual awakening also, you will realize this Atma and that Paramatma are one and the same. Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaha Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. I bow down to that Guru Tattva, to that essence of Guru, which is personified in the form of Shri Dakshinamurti, or which is an avatar of Bhagwan Shiva, which is within each one of us and which reveals this truth to us at the right time. Just like a fruit drops from the tree when it is fully ripe and mature and sweet and able to be, is edible. Just like that, the refined sadhak will just drop from ignorance when the time is right. What are you and I going to take home from this shloka? Of course, that our true nature is Atma. The light of knowledge is who we are, but we are not being able to experience it because we are eclipsed by our own delusions, by our own wrong notions of thinking. And when we have removed these illusions and delusions, then the Atma will reveal itself spontaneously. When will that happen? When will we be ready? Once we have removed all the mal and vikshep through the purification process of Karma Yoga. So when the intellect will become perfectly clear, crystal clear, pure, completely pure, you will not have to work hard to make this understanding your truth. It will spontaneously reveal itself when you are least expecting it. So do your purusharth of purification, understand the knowledge, and then wait patiently, continuing to do your karma yoga for the Atma to reveal itself. That's what you can take home from this beautiful shloka. So every shloka, Bhagwan is trying to find different ways in which he can hammer home the point that, bhai, you are not your body, you are not your mind, you're not your sense organs, you're not your prana, you're not your intellect. You are sanmatraha. You are the real essence which is within each one of us. Okay. One small announcement. From Sunday 15th October, Navratri will be starting and it will go on till the 24th, which is Dasera. So during those days, I will not be taking any Dakshinamurti Stotram ka session. Just keep that in mind. The chanting of Bhagavad Gita will go on, but I will not be taking any shlokas during that time. Okay? Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shidarpanam, Jai Gurudev. Thank you, Bhavna, for chanting. Thank you, Zoom team. Thank you, everyone, for coming on, logging in. See you tomorrow for Bhakti. God bless you all. Have a good night.
Pranama.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Bhavna.
God bless you. God bless you.
Pranama, thank you, Didi.
Pranam Maji.
God bless you all. God bless you.